Hello, everybody.
Hello
There. Welcome back to the Lost Archives, and a very, very warm welcome back to the Curse of Strahd crew. Particularly Jacob. We haven't seen you in a number of weeks. How you doing, man? How was Japan?
Good. Sorry to ruin the streak. Japan was great. It's much better than here. A lot cheaper. People are nicer and cleaner. There's no downside.
Yeah, no, that checks out. Yep. I've got no follow-up questions. You're on at the defense rests, I guess. It's lovely to have you back. I know before we go to...
I will say, actually, they do have fantastic...
He's been cut off. He's not allowed to share that piece of information. Jacob, you went to say something and you said they have fantastic, and then immediately crashed. We got nothing from you for like 10 seconons.
Am I back now?
Do you want to try again?
Okay, good. They have fantastic taste in music.
Yes.
There was one morning we were sitting at the hotel in the restaurant there having breakfast. Listen, ear out. Oh, listen to the docile sounds of Japan. Yes, Macy Peters playing through the restaurant.
There you go.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And
country.
that is, for those of you who had a bingo card, I had it 10 seconds into the main thing. Jacob would bring up Maisie Peters without any prompting. I think that is bingo right there.
I feel like we should have actually had a bingo card for tonight. That would have been
I was
much
tempted
fun.
to message around some things, but then I was like, this is getting very personal if I'm individually messaging you guys about each other. That's very bitchy. It's like, nah, let's not do that.
Mm-hmm. Everyone submit your 3 bully squares for the...
Hey, do you know what?
And why are they all Jacob-centric?
Yeah, I don't know where that came from. So for our 10k subscriber special, shall we do that? Shall we have a session? It's a one-shot. We will have everyone submit bingo, at least one bingo square for each other person. I'll then randomize the bingo cards. Each of us will have our bingo cards that have been randomized and sent around. The first person to get bingo, there's got to be something epic in the one-shot that you win. I'll come up with something.
Love it. Bingo.
That'd be pretty fun. Done. All right, we'll do that. That'll be excellent. Tonight is our 2K subscriber special. Obviously, we hit 2,000 subscribers on YouTube. All of you who have hit the subscribe button, thank you so much. You are absolute bloody legends. We really appreciate each and every one of you. This is a celebration of hitting that 2K subscriber mark, much like we did for Avatar: The Last Airbender, the Avatar Legends campaign we did, the Embers of War campaign. When we hit the 1K subscribers, we did a Q&A session and a little check-in with the characters later on. We're doing the same thing for Curse of Strahd, and I kind of like that as a way of doing like a check back in with the characters for the subscriber special and go through some questions and answers, because we didn't get to end the campaign with all of the answers in place. Due to some time constraints and a couple of people going away, we did have to do the end of the campaign in a few less sessions than I originally had kind of mapped out, but that is a-okay. I still thought the ending was absolutely fantastic. So today and tonight is about going through and getting those answers and finding out what the story was for each of those. So to kick us off tonight, yes, Jacob.
Real quick, Owen, you said we're over 2,000. What's the official subscriber count as of
this second?
Australian time, the 4th of December, 8:20 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time, or I guess an hour wrong if it's Owen's time.
Yeah. Or Tom's, or Haz's, or Raph's, or Ash's,
9:20 a.m. in the morning in the UK.
So actually, Jacob, you're the odd one out. Everyone else is on different...
I said it first.
Okay.
Whatever and plan time.
Yep. 2059.
Isn't Matt in the same time zone? Though?
But he's not here, is he?
Although Matt isn't here. Yeah, this is true.
The official count. Yeah. I've got a feeling there's a lot going on. They've had a baby recently as well. There's a lot going on in their lives. Everyone's having babies, This is the baby times. Everyone's having babies right now. Yeah, the official count right now, Jacob, 2059.
Whee!
That's what we like to see.
Very nice.
Let's hit 3,000 by the end of the night. Come on, we can do it.
End of the night. It's a subathon. We're not going to stop until we hit 3,000.
Everyone donate $10 and
for every 100 subs we get, Owen will take off an item of clothing.
I'm wearing 3 items of clothing. That's a very low bar.
I'm willing to make that sacrifice.
Okay.
Everyone on Twitch, send this link to all of your friends right now.
We're going to get Owen naked and cancelled from the internet forever.
Get them to subscribe to the YouTube channel, which we're not currently streaming on.
That's correct. Yeah, this is not helpful right now. It's way too... If you're watching this on YouTube, the subathon ended in failure already. But yeah, we are here to answer your questions tonight. Remember, if you have any questions that are burning a hole in your pocket, even if you're watching on YouTube or listening to the podcast, chuck them in the comments, particularly the YouTube comments. I will answer each and every one of them. If they're directed at the players, I'll send them to the players and we'll get the answers. So this is not like, if you thought of a question and you're only watching this now, don't panic. Send in the questions. Look, I answer every comment on YouTube. So that's just what happens every time. So
it's because there's only 2,000 subscribers. There's not enough.
That's it. I've got time for that. When we get to 10, maybe I'll have less time for that. But I made a promise. I want to make sure, no matter how big we get, that I do answer every single comment on YouTube. That is one of the promises that I've made myself. We will see how long I can stick to that, because there will be a point where I don't have enough hours in the day. But for now, we're good to go. Now, obviously, before we start the questions and answers, there is one question that all of us have been worrying about, wondering about. There's a hole in our hearts with Jacob not here to give us the information about Maisie Peters. Do you have Maisie Peters updates for us, Jacob?
I will keep it brief in the interest of time, but she's released 3 new singles, not singles.
I misspoke. It's over. He misspoke. That's it. That's all he gets.
Go and check them out. They're great. They're great new music. Check it out on your local music streaming platforms.
Yeah, that'll do.
Amazing Peters.
All right. If you're not going to be serious, shut the fuck up.
Do you actually listen to her music?
Yeah, he does.
So I got my YouTube music Wrapped. She was my second most listened to artist this
year. Whoa. What was the first?
Tay-Tay.
Oh, I'm disappointed.
Fair enough.
What was first?
Tay-Tay.
Look, it does very much match, Jacob.
By a fucking country mile.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I want to find out what mine are now. I'm going to pull up YouTube. While we're doing that, these are the questions we need to know. Who is the most listened to artist? How do you find this out? Just on YouTube Music?
I'd have the year recap stuff.
Yeah, I've got that too.
In a room with more than one other person besides me that has YouTube Music.
Yeah. Music is the way to go.
That's the best. Rabbitology was the most listened to artist for me.
Good choice.
Right?
I was literally getting roasted in a group chat earlier for being the only one that has YouTube Music. This is fantastic.
Welcome to your safe space, Has. We're here to support you. Rabbitology. If you haven't checked out Rabbitology,
then you will be ridiculed.
Where do I find this? Why is it not coming up?
Okay.
There's a big signal boosting musicians. Check out Pierce Brothers. They're an Australian band. They're from Melbourne.
Do you like an Aussie band?
Aussie folk.
Do you like an Aussie band? We are very, very Australian centric here. Right, we should get into the questions now. I tell you what, I'm gonna go through live questions as they come up. So the first question was question for Owen from the Tank Hunter. Who is your favorite and least favorite child character? No judgment, no judgment. Well, there was only one child character in the campaign, and that would be Tithla. So Tithla does automatically qualify as my favorite and least favorite character simultaneously. So that's an easy question. Boom.
As long as you think about
they're all werewolf children.
What was that? Sorry.
They're the werewolf children
that she murdered.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
There were
then...
Rose and Thorn.
Oh, I did like Rose and Thorn. Damn, that Rose and Thorn were pretty cool, weren't they?
Shame you're already locked in Tithla, though.
I'll have to have a think about it. Oh, it's all right. I can downgrade Tithla to just one of those categories. It's very. All right, let's go through our questions. So to start us off, we have a question and this is for each of you, so have a bit of a chance to think through. We'll go through all of you. What was your favorite NPC or summoned NPC? So out of all the NPCs that you encountered, both summoned and non-summoned, who was your favorite NPC? I know there is one answer that if you don't give will make someone cry. So consider your answers very carefully. One of you. Ruh-roh.
I know that Shark guy that was there for half a session that was honestly just so top tier. It's got to be Shark Dude, right?
Shark Dude, yeah. What was his name? I've got it here. That was he was I've got it here. Hang on, I can find that for you. I'm gonna look that up in the meantime while I locate this. I've been able to forget a lot of this stuff. Shark guy, Rill Winterend, the male Videlka.
Shark guy. Ooh,
That's it. So Raph, favorite NPC or summoned NPC?
I mean, honorable mention to the succubus in the tower.
Of course, it's the one I fucking improvised on the spot. Of course, it's the one I put zero effort in. Cool, love it. This is why I don't plan as much as I used to.
I reckon it's got to be. Speaking of NPCs that did not have any plans involved, it's got to be Gavel, Sergeant.
Yeah.
Again, this is why when I give out the notes on my Curse of Strahd campaign, you're going to find it's not as dense as you probably are expecting, because I'm rewarded constantly by not planning things in advance. I'm way funnier in the moment than I am when I have to think about things. If you put me on the spot, my mouth just says things that are quite funny, but when my brain's involved, it's much harder to be entertaining. So maybe I just don't plan NPCs at all in future. Fantastic.
I think there's going to be a universal DM experience, though, of the random throwaway character that the group just latches on.
Here's the main story. Here's Orky Borky, the Goblin merchant. Talk to Orky Borky. What's he up to? Yeah.
2 campaigns. They love Gobja more than anyone else.
Yeah, true. Oh my god. Ash. This question comes from Obscenities, by the way. Thank you, Obscenities, for your question.
I was just looking through. I think that I was really enjoying Mad Mage in play, but watching Josh and Tom interact with Madame Ava was probably one of my favorite scenes, to be sitting there going, "Oh, what's going on?" Like that was fun to sit back and enjoy, knowing that Axel doesn't have the skills for any of these scenes and isn't aware of half of what's happening. But yeah, that was cool. Really loved that.
Madame Ava was a lot of fun to play. Jacob.
I'm just trying to go through my notes because
the oven, right?
This.
Favorite
I was
NPC.
going to come in with the hags. I think Tithla's favorite was Winter, the wolf.
Yeah.
Rictavio's wolf. She made a genuine bond there, and I then became sad that Winter wasn't around more.
Sorry.
That it was kind of, well, I mean, yeah, it's your fault personally.
It is 100%.
But I think then, man, I'm so bad with names now that we've purged everything from my memory.
Yeah.
The wine people who were also the spy network.
The Mardikovs.
Yeah, the girl
Stefania,
that was
the daughter?
Tithla's age.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Stefania.
that was a cool role playing, kind of frenzy vibes there with Tithla. So that was awesome.
100%. Josh.
I can't pick just one, so
None of these guys have, so you're good to go. Everyone's picked at least 2.
I love the changes that you made to Sergei. I know there's lots of different versions of things that you can do to Sergei in the module, but what you did with him was fantastic, and he
Thank you.
Rivaled Strahd in terms of how big he was. I also loved what we did as players with the Abbot as well, making him such a central figure to the story as well. And then Amelia. In
I forgot about Amelia. I want Amelia too.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Amelia was another
My
improvised
favorite-
on-the-spot character. Zero planning. You were like, we want to talk to the captain of the guard. And I'm like, okay.
It's now Amelia. And my favourite summoned NPC had to be, and I'm going to go there, had to be Owen.
No, that was uncomfortable on
For
so
as
many
brief
levels
as he
for me.
appeared.
So that's the most. If a question was what's the most uncomfortable I've ever been on this podcast ever across all things, that is by a country mile, by amplitudes of power, the most awkward I've ever been in my life.
I do have one more NPC which I think tops all other NPCs, and that's Steve TM.
Yeah. Steve's good.
Yeah.
I like Steve.
No.
Steve was fun. No spoilers for tonight. Has.
Following on from what George said, I think you did fantastically with Strahd. I mean, him just popping up and not knowing who would be disguised as did create a legitimate sense of dread throughout. Additionally, what you did with, and kind of what we did with the Mad Mage, was also way more interesting than what was in the original module.
Yeah.
And got to give the shout out to Stan as far as summoned NPCs go. She hung around the long, and it was by far the most fleshed out, and was legitimately hanging with a PC character most of the time. So that was great to have her around.
Yeah, 100%. I've got to give a shout out as well to Savonk, who was a particular favorite of mine, because Savonk now ties into our Return of the Giants campaign. We've had mentions back between that and a link now that sets the timeline of Return of the Giants and Curse of Strahd, linking those two together in the timeline, which was pretty cool. And so now
The vectors.
Well, yeah, and now like Nostea knows you are trapped in Barovia and knows what's happening there in the timeline. So now there's been like a link between the two campaigns, which I'm always very excited for. That was really
That's pretty cool. Look at you, Cosmere it up.
Yeah,
I was thinking
Katarina.
the same thing.
That's been
Don't
my
forget
plan.
about Katarina. She was very important.
Katarina. I was going to say my other honorable mention was Katarina.
Mm.
One of the questions that I had little sharedy things was I was going to go through and see which NPCs that you interacted with did you think were Strahd, because I have a list of the various people Strahd disguised himself at different times, and I think you would be surprised who you interacted with who was actually Strahd.
That's it. Like I said, like it was legitimately spooky. You just had no way to know. There was no telltale sign unless he revealed it and just douched us. It could have been anyone. It was Gavel, wasn't it?
No, Gavel was not a Strahd. Was not Strahd at any point.
I will say for Tithla, because there was literally zero insight checks she made during the entire campaign, and everything that anyone said to her, she believed. So that was so freeing for me to then just believe when people didn't say they were Strahd. It's like, oh, this is Jiminy Cricket. Oh, of course it is. Happy days. So I then didn't have that little like extra level of anxiety because I was like, fucking, of course this is Timmy.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I love that.
It was the big shock that absolutely fucked me up in like the third episode, Strahd.
Oh yeah, what was the go with that dude?
He is in the original module. He was not Strahd. He's just a douchebag.
I just got fucked up by a random shopkeeper. Okay.
That was just a vanilla Curse of Strahd. I made no changes to that section at all.
Why is he so powerful though?
He is one of the potential allies that you can have if you draw certain cards. So in the original Curse of Strahd module, you draw to see which ally you have. I didn't really want to have it where you had like a specific fated ally. I wanted you guys to have the freedom of choice and be able to recruit and bring people on board. And there were some people who, if you recruited them, blocked you out from others, which was kind of interesting. So like there was a scenario where you could have got the hags on side to turn against Strahd, but that would have involved you basically surrendering Vallaki to them. So like I had this set up so that you could do a very evil playthrough of this campaign if you wanted to. Like if you decided to side. What was that?
Yeah.
We didn't know we could do that.
I told you from the beginning, like you can do whatever you want. I've got contingencies in place. So if you decided to go full Sergei's friend,
roll it back.
Let's start again. We're gonna reload it earlier. Save. There was I had contingencies for if you guys really embraced the darkness of Barovia. If you sided full on with Sergei, you could have recruited the hags. You could have recruited. There were other people as well. If the blight druids, there were ways to get them on side. Like if you'd gone to them and said, "Hey, look, there's still a gemstone at the Mardukov family. We've taken it. Here it is. Here's the last gemstone." I mean, that's pretty helpful. They would have been on your side for that. That would have been a. So there were ways that you could go full evil with this. I had things in place for various options. But no, that's super sick. Let me pull open the other questions because I've gone off to try and find Real Winter's name. All right, this is a question from Foxtrot. I'm going to do this one first really quickly because this is quite funny. Is Tithla and her boy doppelganger ever going to cause mischief again? Good question. Tithla left Barovia at the end of Curse of Strahd, so maybe. What was the?
I mean, Tithla's always down for mischief.
Yeah, that's it. That's very true. What did we call?
That's not a question that needs to be answered.
Well, that goblin. He had a very funny name. Let me try and find it. I've got it here somewhere. I'll locate that in the meantime. Yeah, it was. It was like, I'll find it. It was very interesting.
That's right. Go on. I'll look.
Go back to the page. The Last Blinsky. Here we go. That's a really maybe again in the future. The question for all of you: do you feel like your character got some sort of closure to their personal story? Like Jonor with learning more about the Weaves of Magic, or Styx with his past? Yeah, that's a good question. I reckon some people more than others. Obviously, Matt and Ash came in the last couple of episodes, so much harder to have like a full rounded story. But I guess yep, Jacob. Tylath. Thank you very much. But yeah, like for Raph, Jacob, Josh, and Haz, do you feel like you had some closure or some development that your character went through as a result of the events?
I mean, kinda, but I never set out with a definitive goal for Theo. I just impromptu slapped on a French accent and just kind of saw where that went. I guess
you
by
did
the
destroy the Black Druids, which is like a druidic goal.
Wait,
I mean, you've eradicated.
Yeah, a bit of genocide was always on the card. I think the main goal for Theo, though, was mostly just to shepherd Tithla out of there safely. And I guess while she was alive, she was a lot more damaged than I would have liked. I guess, in a sense, probably failed my goal, because by the end, I was just kind of being a big brother, mentor, parental figure for my little maid. And
you were one of the driving forces for the group, doing what they could to destroy Strahd and Sergei. You were one of the forces who was very much adamant of, we are not siding with one or the other. We are not compromising. It's either both of them go or we die trying.
I did also float the idea of giving Irina to Strahd for a bit. But,
you did actually do that, yeah. Yeah, that's true. That was entertaining. I didn't see that coming.
Whatever it takes, right?
Whatever it takes.
Well, yeah, so kind of failed in that respect. As far as closure, I think maybe I'll feel better after this one. Did end up heading back home. Sam came with. We'll see where that ends up.
Yeah, 100%. We do have a bit of closure for that. Let's go Josh next. Let's go reverse order this time. Josh, Killian's journey.
Killian was only supposed to be in it for a few episodes. I joined in episode 29, so nearly 100 episodes. Well, there was a couple of episodes that I missed, but
character.
Yeah, he was only supposed to be in it for a little while, but he was towards the end. He was very much, I'm gonna stay here because I have nothing else to go to. My lands are completely different. I have no family or anything like that. And then everybody else was like, no, we're your family. No, we're your family. No, we're your family. So I think that realization hit him towards the end. Part of the whole teleporting into where Strahd and Sergei were without the others and with just Styx was more keep them protected. I know Styx wants to fuck these people up.
Yeah. No, fair enough. Jacob.
I think Tithla,
very emotional. I think
had a very weird arc, because she definitely got far less stable there for quite a while. But I think she came out of it. I think that was a cool arc. She then all of her attachment issues really settled in, which was weird because she was so trusting at the start. So then her sort of flaw was that, okay, well, I trust all these people, but my trust is going to get me hurt. So how do I grapple with that? Sort of led to her accepting that, no, I can continue to trust these people even more so. So like the resolution was more trust, but the trust that people will return or that they do care about her. So I think she definitely had that closure. And at the start, I think compared towards the end, she was like, oh, I wouldn't kill a person, wouldn't do that. Maybe an animal for hunting, that sort of stuff. Whereas at the end, then they're like, no, I'm going to fucking kill Sergei because this piece of shit is a bad piece of shit.
And all these children.
Well, okay, that was they were dogs, okay? Rabid dogs.
You can't call children dogs.
Watch me.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
Checks out.
That difference there, while it's not necessarily good growth, it's that change in character and that development. So yeah, I thought
it is a very adult thing to realize that some people don't necessarily need to be on the planet breathing oxygen. I think that's a very adult realization, wouldn't you say?
I wouldn't say that out loud on a recording. I wouldn't know.
Oh, I'm going to say it out loud on a recording. I've got no problem saying that. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that there are some people whose like use of oxygen, I think, is unwarranted. Let's segue on. Ash, would you like to take us through? Again, much harder for you, Ash, because you were only here for 30 episodes or so. But yeah, was there a bit of an arc for Ash? For Axel?
I don't like that segue into let's talk to Ash, but
this is Ash's opinion. I'm just here helping him say it out loud and express it in a healthy way.
So for Axel, I guess a bit of like where he was coming from was a lack of trust in power, and specifically magical power, after being like a soldier and a guard under some potentially mages that did the wrong thing. And so coming in, I decided to attach to, Jonor as this is the person I most have to worry about, because I've seen what happens when this person powers up. And so it started as I need to be near them for when they muck up and do the wrong thing. And Jonor told the opposite story to what I was expecting to see. So he actually then started to soften around Jonor and was then like, oh, I'm here to protect him in the right way, because this is the relationship that I thought I had previously that he hadn't had. So it was like the next beat in that story of trust in magic and power, and recognizing that he has to trust people with these magical powers. So I think going back, he can try again after kind of having given up on doing so with magic and other people with big magic power.
Yeah. Fair. Styx, you got probably the most complete arc out of the whole group, given that you were a new character brought in as Grinner died.
And also Grinner. I'd love to hear Grinner because that got cut off.
And that's right. Styx did get a complete circle, whereas poor old Grinner, Grinner, I think, is one of the favorite PCs that I've ever had the privilege of playing. Like, he was just great, and his embodiment of self-loathing and just the toll that war has, especially when you snap out of it and discover you're on the wrong side. He was such a broken character, and I think having Rose and Thorn there as a shining light for him, as a almost ladder to use to claw his way out of the hole that he was in, was so much fun to play with. And obviously all that ended a little bit abruptly, so I love the idea that he has had this second lease on life now that everyone brought him back. And whilst he has a lot more demons to fight through after everything that happened, I think he has a path which he didn't have before. So whilst he may have taken a few steps backwards, he actually has a direction to travel now, which is a lot of fun to speculate on where that's going to lead him.
Well, that'll be one of the questions we answer tonight, by the way. We'll be checking in with your characters a few months after the end of the campaign. So we'll have some of those answers tonight.
That's fun. And Styx, look, there's clearly a theme that I play broken characters. Hey,
it's cheaper than therapy.
Yeah. They're not manifested of me. What are you talking about?
I wasn't saying that. I was making an observation.
We'll say it, though.
Yeah, we'll say it.
I think Styx, again, just so much fun. And his grappling of loss and betrayal and coming to terms with that level of also immortality where, everyone's kind of just dying and he can't do anything about that. I think he had a lot of growth and development. It was so clear. It was probably the clearest out of all of them, having that level of literally becoming whole again. It was such a physical, visceral thing compared to just the psychological torment of most of the other characters. It kind of speaks for itself. He had so much growth throughout the campaign when he was in there, and it was a lot of fun to play.
Yeah. And who'd have thought getting your liver surgically removed by a mad abbot would actually end up being the thing that would save a character's life?
Right? How's that for a spur of the moment?
So one of the questions, I'm going to do this question now really quickly because that's the answer. The question I got answered was, were there any encounters that you'd planned out for the party where things went different to what you were expecting, or any scenarios that you didn't envision? Yeah, loads, always. I mean, I do my best to kind of imagine what people will do, and I mean, it really helps that I know a lot of these guys very, very well and have known a lot of them for a while, so I can kind of see where I think their choices will go. And the other thing as well, right, is that characters do tend to take on a bit of a life of their own. When you're a really good role player, which all of you are, your characters sort of become these entities that do exist in a way, not just like in the collective, like there's a picture of them on the screen. I mean, like in the way that we tell a story about them together every week, and they take on this life outside of just how we describe them. And sometimes you can feel what I like to kind of call like this like narrative momentum, where like you can feel the story pushing you along. I feel like the best books have this. Like the reason I love Cosmere so much is most of the time you can feel this real pull. The story is pulling you along and pulling characters along, and everything's kind of caught in this wake. I think Terry Pratchett, who's one of my favorite authors of all time, described this as like stories want to tell themselves and be told. They don't care who gets in the way. And so like stories are like these living things in his stories, in his books. Characters kind of have that a bit too sometimes. And so a lot of the time I kind of know roughly what the characters will choose to do, what the players will have their characters do at any given moment. And then there's just massive curveballs out of fucking nowhere. Like Grinner being like, "Oh yeah, could you deal with my liver? I'm really worried about this. Have you got a spare liver around?" Obviously, no clue that was coming. I think throughout the campaign, each of you on more than one occasion had really had me sort of stop for a moment and go like, "Come again? Like one more time?" Yeah, I love.
Do you
those
have
moments.
one other that stands out in your mind, Owen, of where not necessarily a favorite or a worst, or just one other that pops into mind where you're like, where did that come from?
Oh God, trying to redeem the abbot. That
what
is
a fucking power move that was.
So in the original module, this kind of touches back on the earlier questions we're talking about. So in the original module, Sergei appears for 3 seconds. You take Irina to a pond. She sees the reflection of Sergei in the water. She leans in, cuddles him in the water, and then both of them vanish. That's it. That's Sergei in the entire original module. I was like, no. In the original module, the abbot's job is to be there, be crazy, be devoted to Strahd, try and sacrifice you to Strahd and die. That's really how he is written in the module. There's not really much wriggle room. Those were the moments where I was like, this is a good opportunity for something else. So I left the door open for the abbot. I was like, there's definitely more we could do here, but I didn't envisage how you would redeem him in the way that you did. The combination of your spells, the combination of your, like, because I figured you would try and get him on side, but I hadn't really planned out exactly what that would look like for you guys, because I was like, well, I'm going to leave this to you. If you want to redeem him, I want to see what you guys come up with. And if I'm persuaded, then let's fucking go for it. And the combination of, what was the spell? It was ceremony and a whole person to keep him locked down, ceremony, and what was the other one? It was like 3, was it sanctuary as well? Counterspell came out a lot. You guys loved Counterspell.
That's Counterspell, yeah. It was me. It was Killian, Luther, and Jonor that sort of...
Yeah. That combination...
I think I just pumped magic into it, I think. Yeah. I don't actually think I cast a spell. That
was amazing. I loved that moment so much. The other moment that I loved, but for very different reasons, was Jonor counterspelling Victor Vlakovic. I did not see that coming. And that opened up the door to a lot of other fun things down the line, including having Victor Vlakovic be the Mad Mage. Because at that point, I wasn't even sure if I wanted to include the Mad Mage. Modular's written the Mad Mage is Mordenkainen. For some reason, he's there and insane now. It looked kind of cool, but also, yeah. Like, yeah, there's no real like reward unless you're deep into D&D lore. You don't really know who Mordenkainen is, and like most people wouldn't kind of get that just from the description of how he is in Curse of Strahd. So I knew I wanted the Mad Mage to be someone important to the party. I had a few people that I had in mind for it. That moment when there'd been so much talk about spatial magic, Victor playing around spatial magic, and knowing that he was dicking about with very, very complicated spellcasting, to have Jonor counterspell him in that moment, I was like, I have my Mad Mage. It was like, it suddenly occurred in that moment as Jonor said, I cast counterspell. I was like, oh my God, this is it. This is the moment where we have this. I'll just have to do some time stuff, but that's easy enough. He's dicking about with crazy high level magic, and we know Barovia's
wibbly wobbly, timey wimey.
Exactly. Yeah, we all know that's the technical terminology. I don't want to get people bogged down with the technical terms. Yeah, that was another standout moment that I did not see coming. I genuinely did not think that Jonor would counterspell Victor. I thought Jonor was really working with Victor. I did not see that coming in the moment. I really thought you guys were going to be helping Victor take out his father. But then, yeah, because at that point, you had no reason not to kind of work with Victor in that moment. Apart from Jonor's very unsettled kind of feelings about the book that Victor had been like.
Yeah, I could see where he was coming from for sure.
Oh, man.
After he did it, I was like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, a few very rogue ones from Jonor actually throughout the whole campaign.
Yeah, that's it. But they all made sense.
Yeah.
If you
For
squint.
Yeah, if you squint your ears.
He squint.
Fun little behind the scenes thing, because obviously, as we know, Killian was only supposed to be a guest character for the Vallaki arc. Owen sort of pulled me behind after one of the sessions and went, "Oh yeah, I've had this idea to make Victor the Mad Mage. What do you think?" I was like, "Yeah, that sounds cool. I'm looking forward to watching that." 80 sessions later.
Did you enjoy watching it?
Did you enjoy watching?
I did enjoy watching it and being a part of it.
Yeah.
Oh, and who were the other candidates for Mad Mage?
Oh god, I had a few actually. So one of the candidates I had for the Mad Mage was Sergei himself. We knew that Strahd had been a high-powered spellcaster. I thought that would be actually kind of interesting that Sergei has this false identity. I had this Mad Mage as a false identity for Strahd at one point. Like, very clever to have an entity that people think is opposed to you that adventurers will go to and try and recruit. Like a high-level mage, this sounds like the sort of ally we need. So there were times where I had it, where I thought it could be Strahd, it could be Sergei using this as a false identity. I had a previous adventurer, so one of the adventurers you were looking for, I had it as... This is a blast from the fucking past. Here we are here. Polias Flinchia. Tom, hello! Hey. Let me bring you across. Perfect timing. Oh, he's already across. Oh my god, it just came straight away. So one of the people I had was one of the adventurers you were looking for. I thought, so he was a wizard, and I thought that could be the origin of the Mad Mage. This person who's gone missing. And that's kind of a satisfying arc as you go looking for the Mad Mage and you realize this is one of the adventurers you were supposed to find. But I had a few candidates. I had a few people I thought.
Down because we could never remember what the names of any of those people were. So you would have said the reveal was like,
who? Yeah, that's why I was very happy when I had the idea of Victor. I was like, oh no, this actually works quite well. It
worked very well.
This should be quite fun. Yeah, goodness me. We were just talking about moments that I couldn't have anticipated or didn't anticipate. Oh. Not I couldn't have. Moments I didn't anticipate and the consequences they had on the wider story, Tom. I will quickly get, there was a previous question I really want to get from you, actually. Do you feel like your character got some sort of closure to your personal story? And the specific example given was like Jonor with learning more about the weaves of magic or Styx, repairing himself and reconstructing himself.
So, did he get closure? I think he did to some degree. So, sort of rode the wave up and down of like trying to do evil things or not. That was what he was arriving there for, in a way. So, and he also did like fall into what his school was. So, I think he did learn, where his pathway was going a bit more, and so how he could like probably contribute further. So, I'd say like a fair degree, not like a full flesh out, but I was pretty happy with where he ended up.
Yeah, nice, fantastic. Alrighty, question for what happened to Raspip and the cursed ring? Yeah, that's a good question. I'm actually keeping Raspip as an NPC in my back pocket for a future episode of a different campaign. I don't want to give too much away about Raspip. Jacob's left.
Like reverse,
I think
it's
Jacob's
like
worried.
Lord of the Rings.
It is a little bit. It is reverse Lord of the Rings. I think Jacob's worried that I'm going to reveal that it's the Tuesday session that he's just agreed to join. Oh, he's back. I can't say anymore. But yeah, we'll see. We might see Raspip again. I'm planning to have Raspip appear again as an NPC, along with all of your characters. The plan is for all of your characters to appear as NPCs in all future campaigns, just like I did for Tyranny of Dragons. Your characters exist in the world. Obviously, much harder for Styx because you stay behind in Barovia. But we can still do stuff like that. We can definitely still do stuff like that.
I'd love to see Shivers again, actually. That would be fun. I'm putting that here.
I've actually got Shivers. If you come and join us, I don't want to say because it's a spoiler for other people. Shivers is coming back very soon. I've got with this year, Shivers is coming back in one of the episodes. I'm not gonna say any more than that. As is KC. very soon as well. Jacob's NPC from Tyranny of Dragons.
Ooh, hello.
As well. Look, I love to have these characters come back and see them again. Now this is a question for all of you, and this is a slightly bigger question. Oh, should I answer this question first? Okay, I'll do a live question first. How did I feel about the balance for the horror aspect of the campaign? Yeah, look, I think if I had my time again, I would have asked for more sanity checks. I kept forgetting that I'd created an entire system for managing insanity because I'd get so caught up in the narrative aspects. I would keep forgetting to ask for the sanity check. I feel like if I had remembered it more and used it more, I would have lent even more into the horror. As it is, I don't like having a single tone campaign. Having a campaign that is just depressing and horror all the time, I don't think is very fun or interesting to listen to. I think you need the shades of light and dark, and that's why I was always really encouraging and sometimes pushing for along with like Haz for the festival, helping Haz push the festival, because you need those moments of joy and revelry and fun and humor so that the horror hits more realistically, because it's very rare for your life at any point to just be monotone. It is often multi-layered. You might have all things going on, but there's also moments of fun and joy as well. So I wanted to kind of capture that. I think it worked pretty well. Yeah, I think the balance was pretty good. I do wish I'd used my own homebrew system for Sanity Ball, which I went to the trouble to make.
Can we go around the table and just everyone call out what their sanity modifier is?
That was one of the questions.
That's a great question.
What was the sanity scores?
Yeah, who wants to start?
I was doing +5 by the end.
Yep, +5.
I'll say I don't think Owen actually got it working for Styx. I don't think we got around to it.
Surely that's not true.
So it's still +9 or whatever.
I think it's sitting at +2 on the character sheet, but I don't.
I'll check and see if that's right. Hang on. Let's see how it's calculated. Here we go. Because the good news is it tracked all the changes that I made in the background, so I could see what it was. Hang on, I'll check yours. Tom, what was your final sanity?
I don't have it on the character sheet. I was manually tracking what I thought it was. I lost 1 or 2 points.
Oh my god. Thank you for letting me know after the campaign's concluded, Tom. Fucking hell. Oh my god. No, that is correct. That is correct. +2, because you lost 2 sanity. That is correct.
Okay.
It was only a max of +4.
I don't think I lost one after the session getting into Durst Manor. I think that time of the myth was the only time I ever rolled and failed the sanity check.
Yep, that'd be it. Yeah, I deeply regret not doing more with that.
Tithla wound up at 0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's only one other person that did end up at 0, and was our favorite friend, Victim.
Yep.
He was so far below 0 sanity. Like, he was definitely...
He's in the minuses, 100% after voice counter spells.
Yeah. I had a question. How did the Nat 1 DM sanity affect things? Yeah, I remember. That's right. I rolled a sanity check for myself and rolled a natural 1. What I did to compensate for that is I had another NPC that you had interacted with. I had them be Strahd. That's how I compensated for that Nat 1 sanity for the DM. I was like, yep. Do you want to know? One of the times you interacted with Ismark, it wasn't Ismark. It was Strahd.
Oh.
Now that makes sense, because he was really off in one of the interactions. We were like, is this actually him? And then when we went back to insight him, we was like, yeah, no, that's him.
It was so before you sort of got him at the guard tower and chatted to him with Amelia. No, that was it. So when he was at the guard tower with Amelia, when you were really suspicious of him, that wasn't him. That was Strahd.
Damn it. Yeah, that felt really weird. And I was like, I've never met this person in my life, but this seems like a weird thing to be pushing for.
And then so that when you met up with Ismark again, it wouldn't be so obvious. Strahd cast Modify Memory on Ismark and said you met with the team in the tower. This is what they spoke about. I tried to do. I also had Strahd cast Modify Memory on
having a festival. Like,
yep. Strahd also cast Modify Memory on 2 of you and failed the check each time. Which was a bit disappointing. So one of the times was against Tithla, when you were speaking with your favorite huntsman in the woods, Tithla. He tried to cast Modify Memory on you then to change events so that you forgave him for abandoning your walking away and have you trust him once again. I failed that roll.
Fucking demo.
So I did little rolls in the background for these because I didn't want you to have any idea this was happening. Because if the modify memory like is successful and fails, I was like, I want to keep this secret, and I'll get you aside and tell you afterwards. And the other one was against Jonor. He tried to do it through the crystal ball at one point with Jonor to try and cast modify memory. Also failed.
Oh, Jonor! I don't think I ever found out what Jonor's compulsion was.
Yes, Jonor, we should talk about your compulsion.
So it was I was compelled to have my party do evil acts. So when we had, who was it? Luther we were in the crypts beneath the church in, what town was it?
Vallaki. I think it was St. Undrul's. Was it St. Undrul's bones? I think were beneath the town of Vallaki.
Yeah. And we're like looking around some different coffins there, and I was like, had to say, you should like start opening these coffins and like take whatever's inside and stuff like that. And then we're walking up to the abbot's like where the abbot lived, and walking up the hill there. I like was encouraging someone to like whack the lantern out of that old guy's hand, the one that he really valued. They're just unnecessarily being mean.
Yeah, and really did it.
Or just you being as evil as you could be.
Yeah, this was how Jonor interpreted be evil and get your party to do evil things. Thing was right. It is very much like the compulsion was get your party to do evil things, which is very much how does Jonor view evil. That was how Jonor viewed evil things, so I had to go with it. I was like, yep, then that fulfills the compulsion. If you interpret that as like you are getting your party to do awful things, I think in that instance you were trying to provoke aggression, so the party would then kill the. Like you wanted it to be like an aggressive situation where the party would turn on and kill the mongrel folk, which is an evil act. So you were trying to be subtle about it too, which is what you were told to do. The compulsion was like, get your party to do evil things. Do not let them know. Like you need to be subtle. You need to be careful. Like, it was guide them specifically towards committing evil acts. Was the compulsion from the witches.
Yep. So that one, hold on that one for a little while.
Good stuff.
That was fun.
Thank you.
Oh my
were there any other little secret things that were allocated to other party members?
There was a secret thing that you never found out about, and it never came up, so I kind of ended up letting it fall. But Sergei had, after your backstab of Jonor, Killian, you fulfilled the terms for Sergei to have a sensor placed on you that he could look through and divine through to see what was going on. You were the one Sergei was using as a spy until, and I didn't see this coming, until you then repledged yourself to the Celestials and broke the connection by redeeming the abbot.
So it wasn't for that long then?
It wasn't for very long. It was for a bit. Like you guys didn't get the abbot on board, like really fixed up until oh no, that was after. So it must have been when you. Oh no! I know what it was. Sorry, it was when you went and got the mace, the mace that Axel ended up using, the holy mace. That was what ended up breaking the sensor. So it was there for a while. Like it was there when you were going through the werewolf section. Sergei could see you at all times. That's how he was able to know you were there and send the angler to try and find you. It was there for a chunk of time.
Oh, that angler creature was amazing.
That was
so much
brilliant.
Fun.
Yeah,
that was really fun.
I honestly thought that you were going to introduce ghost pirates on there, and we were going to fight pirates.
I was going to introduce ghost pirates. The reason I ended up bailing out is because I felt it was too much of a tonal shift, because I can't do ghost pirates without them coming across as somewhat jovial. Because as soon as I break into yar, it's very hard to stay. Because even if I say, we're going to split the skin from your bones, lad, it still doesn't sound very threatening, does it? Like, let's be honest. Yeah, I did. I misspoke. It's all over. Yeah. So I ended up bailing from the ghost pirates only because I knew I couldn't maintain a serious approach to ghost pirates. And we'd done a fair bit with ghosts as well. All the stuff with the revenants. I was like, it's a lot of ghosts. Let's do something really out there and fun that none of you are seeing. And I was a bit inspired by the Loch Ness Monster. I was like, I want a cryptid. I want a Barovian cryptid. This would be really fun.
That was good stuff.
I enjoyed the angler. I need to bring that back for another thing.
And there's a question in the chat that I want to answer to.
Thank you. Yes.
Was there actually a chance at all for any of the previous adventurers to have been saved?
Yes, there was. Absolutely. Yep, there was.
Well,
there were three. Right. There were three that you could have saved. depending on choices that you'd made, there were 2 that were very iffy and would have been very difficult. The rest were dead. So out of the 10 total, half could have been saved. 2 from one group, 3 from the other. The
How
problem
close were
was
we to saving any of them?
really close to 2 of them. Really close. The one that was in the
Was one of them
Druids area.
Yeah.
The one that was in the Druids area.
Because I rested.
Yeah, because you had the fight with the Druids and then Jonor rested.
Motherfucker.
I'm so sorry.
Well,
I didn't want to reveal that.
mentioned the many people will die if we do this. Oh.
You didn't know. How would you know? There was and like it's very out of game for me as a DM to be like, oh, you better hurry. They might have hostages. Like you didn't know. Like there's no way to know that. Like I can't.
I mean, we did know they had hostages. We knew very well they had
Oh yeah,
hostages.
you did know. Yeah. Then I don't know. Yeah, then I wash my hands of
we-
responsibility.
We didn't have shatter. So we would have not succeeded. Clearly.
Can I
Yeah.
can I argue that because Axel and Blood came in later to save the adventurers as well, and the party was able to leave, they were the adventurers that he was sent to save the Tempest Guild adventurers. And therefore,
On a technicality,
he did recover a bunch of adventurers.
If that makes Axel feel better for this, sure, Axel can believe that. I've
No,
got no
Axel
issues with Axel.
doesn't
I think if one of the achievements was to save previous Tempest Guild members, I think Axel and Blood are the only 2 that unlock that.
Yes.
Yeah. And the other one that you could have saved was with the hags. None of you went upstairs.
There was an upstairs?
In the windmill, it was multi-story. You burned one of them alive.
We went downstairs.
So did Tithla. Tithla got burned alive.
I'm so sorry. There were 2 in particular that I was like, oh no, like you, not directly, but your actions did lead to their untimely deaths, and they could have been saved.
Not directly, but you could have saved them. And if you hadn't have done what you did, they wouldn't have gone.
The hags had one of them upstairs. I'm so sorry.
Oh, fuck.
This is why I stopped bringing up the adventures at one point, because I was like, this is very, very depressing, and I don't really want to mention this again. So I sort of stopped talking
Depressing
about
in a Curse of Strahd campaign.
Yeah, because it's, I mean, like, you ended up having other motivations. Like, that was the motivation to kind of get you guys into the story. You demonstrated very early on, you didn't really care that much about the missing adventurers. So it was like...
Yeah, I mean, as soon as we were trapped in a place we didn't want to be, the goal was really get the hell out of there.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's the thing, right? There are times when I think it's better to let a plot hook. If they're not biting the plot hook, let it go. Going with others, especially when you were so invested in we need to escape from here, and you got very pulled into the Ismark and Irina story. That was a plot hook that I didn't know if it would land. I sort of dangled them in front of you to see what you think, and you really embraced that particular arc, all of you, with open arms, and so that became the kind of preeminent character-driven reason for what you were doing for a long time. And I was very happy with that, because that's a very interesting part of the story. I mean, you could have easily just gone, no, we don't give a shit about these people, and just left them in Barovia, in the town of Barovia, and gone after the adventurers. I mean, that was, you didn't know, but I really liked that, because it meant you engaged with the story very, very quickly, and I didn't need the plot hook of, like, there are some missing people. I mean, Barovia, there are millions of people who've come here and died, like, past adventurers from various lands. Yeah, so I was happy to let that one go. But yeah, no, there were a few that you could have saved for sure. Definitely. Oh my goodness.
I have a quick Blinsky question, if I can.
Yeah,
I'm just going through some of my notes.
Yeah.
Why is Blinsky's first name Gladoff? Gladoff
Blinsky.
Yeah.
Because it's got the word glad in it, but also fuck off.
Yep. What a fucking weird name. Gladoff Blinsky.
That is the module.
Jacob?
Yeah, exactly. Why's your name Jacob?
What? Oh, because my parents are very clever. Where else would it be?
Yeah, no, that's his name in the module. I did not adjust Gladoff Blinsky's name. That is his name in the module.
Shit name.
I agree. I like Blinsky. Gladoff is weird.
Okay. I have more niche singular names that I can ask about if you'd like, or...
No, we've got a lot of questions to get through.
Well,
That's fine.
I've got something for Owen.
Okay.
So there may be a gift which is going to be planted into your lap in about 20 seconds from now.
What the fuck?
On behalf of all of the team members, we want to say...
Are you on the phone with Alice right now? She's crawling across
yeah.
the floor to hand this to me.
Thank you, Alice.
I can hear it through the thing. I'm actually crying. She's gone. She's like a fucking character from The Ring. She's like right scrabbles backwards and disappears. That's really impressive. I didn't know she could do that. That's really crazy. Okay, thank you so much.
On behalf of the Curse of Strahd crew, we all appreciate the ridiculous amount of effort you've put in, the endless hours of scheming up an alternative version of Curse of Strahd that no one else has ever experienced, and the amazing narrative you can put together. I've personally shared that every Monday I would look forward to the day because we had Curse of Strahd at the end. And I am sure the rest of you thought something very similar. So on behalf of everyone in the Curse of Strahd team, thank you very much.
Fucking oath, Owen.
Thank you so much. Have you
think
made
everybody else
me
could have
as a
said that any
Lego
better than
figure?
Tom.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Is this me as a Lego figure? This is amazing.
We have
Owen Bonzarovich is a Lego figure.
It's me as Strahd as a Lego figure. Oh my fucking god. And then dice mods. I'm getting into dice making.
Yeah.
Thank you so
You're
much. What was that?
You can also use them for ice cubes.
Ooh. I also like that a lot.
Ice.
Okay, I'm going to keep this one's for ice cubes then, because I don't think I should be mixing resin with edible things. It doesn't sound like a good idea. Okay, these are for ice cubes. Oh my god, thank you so much, guys. I really, really appreciate it. I've had such a blast.
More than welcome.
I'm making this tonight. This is fucking awesome. I'll put some pictures in the Discord. That is so funny. I love that they've got the beady expression of disappointment I had whenever... Oh, come on, auto background. Don't be a dick. Just this look of horror whenever I have to describe something that one of you has done or created. And I'm like, oh, fuck. Or when I'm looking at the editing for something that one of you has said that I now know I'm going to have to remove.
Either Raph or Jacob.
There's no way to know. There's no way to know.
There's no way to know. No, thank you so much. I really appreciate this, guys. That's really gorgeous. Oh my god, I'm gonna have so much fun making this. Oh my goodness. I'm speechless. This doesn't happen often. Thank you so much.
Anyway, you can carry on with the questions. I just figured
I don't know if I can right now.
Yeah, Owen, come on. We've got a thing to do.
Maybe we can give each other questions.
How did
Question
each of
for
you...
Tom.
Okay, go. No, go on. What's your question for Tom? I'm curious now.
Okay, because it ties into what I was saying earlier about how Axel's faith in the mage was around Jonor actually being good. So my question is, was there a likelihood or a possibility that he was going to go bad?
Whatever led him to the most divination was the biggest pull for him.
It's a power.
That was why he just would not let go of that crystal ball. So it was the he has the theory, the professor of, I understand what good and evil is, but he's just very naive from a actual real world implementation, and he just gets taken by whatever his actual deepest passion is. So he could have gone either way. He leant towards trying to do the right thing, but it wasn't his number one goal.
Fair enough. That is a great question. I've got a question for each of you from Tricking. How did you create your characters and their personalities? There's going to be a whole range of answers on this, I suspect.
Oh,
Raph.
For all of the characters that I've ever come up with, because I do a fair bit of driving around, and so I'm usually in the car just trying to entertain myself, coming up with different accents and voices and things like that. So every character I've ever come up with that has been a part of any of Owen's streams has started purely with me just doing a silly voice in the car. And they have all developed entirely from those voices. I've gone, that's a fun voice. How can I turn that into a character? And it's all stemmed directly from that. So Grinner, Styx, especially Styx, were all just me playing around with different accents and different voices and fleshing out what they could be from there. And then the other key thing for me when building a character is they must have a major debilitating flaw. There must be something that just stops them being able to function as the hero in D&D, because I'm not big on the whole concept of the all-powerful D&D character. I like something that's a bit more fucky. So yeah, that's kind of what is the seed that starts any of my characters.
That's so
I
fair.
personally really loved Grinner, and I think that flaw really made him like a really relatable, like human character.
Thank you.
So,
yeah, I liked him a lot too. Like I said before, I think he was my favorite.
I'd also like to know what the hell you were doing when you came up with Styx's voice.
I don't want to know what he was doing.
It's funny actually, because Styx, where that
driving
voice
along
came
singing
from
Taylor
for
Swift.
me-
It's a love story, baby, just say yes.
Why we got to catch strays over here, all right, dude?
it actually all stemmed from a different, very prominent D&D live stream over in America. And I'm not going to name any names on.
You can absolutely name
here,
names, mate. You can absolutely name names. Come on.
It came from Critical Role and a one-shot that Liam did for the team back in like 2015 or 16 or something like that. There was this live stream and he had this NPC character that was a robot, and I've been trying to practice that voice for years, and I nailed it eventually, and Styx was born.
And then you made me learn it, you bastard.
I thought that was possibly derived from there's a Tenacious D song called Inward Singing, and it's basically one of the guys saying that he could sing forever because he just sings outwards and sing inward.
Yeah.
So I thought that was it. So
that's hilarious. No, we should always call out good work when we see it, especially in the TTRPG space. Like, it doesn't matter how big it is, it doesn't matter how small chat. We should always name who we love and who we really enjoy. We should always do that. So yeah, I never
So
try
on
and
that bit, yeah, where that's come from, they're a small little place. Look them up. Critical Role.
Never. You've probably not heard of them.
They've got this extension model there.
We should always like. I think it's really important we always call out good work.
7-day free trial for Beacon if you want.
I think too much of the internet's devoted to things we don't like and calling out stuff and being nasty. I think we should balance that by saying, like, I've really loved this that some other people did. Absolutely, we should do that. And the more we do that, I think the better. It's a good antidote to the internet as it currently stands. Starting with a character and going for a flaw, I really love. Starting with a voice and going for a flaw, Raph, I really love, because I personally, when I create characters, I'll pick their greatest strength and then I'll find where that gets flipped into their biggest flaw. And that, for me, I always try and find a character where their strength is specific in certain areas and it becomes a flaw in others, so that when you're really good at something, you tend to use it more often, but it's not always appropriate. So, like, I love to find those moments, like, where does that flip? And that's how I build the characters, around this idea of they've got this great strength, but is also a real problem for them in other areas. It sounds very similar to what you do as well.
Love that.
By Joe Abercrombie a little bit and how he creates characters.
Oh, abso-fucking-lutely.
Abso-fucking-lutely.
Yeah.
Tom, where did Jonor come from?
if anyone has watched the TV show Superstore, there's a character called Jonor. And so I started with him.
I see the resemblance.
And just went from there. And just wherever he landed was what I did. So that's inspiration.
Fantastic.
And also, I want to mention for the Cosmere RPG, I've used your method, Raph, with a voice. So I had said, like, I've this greeting of a friend that our friend and I do of hello. And from that, I just exacerbated that one and ended up with the accent for Mickey. So I've taken on board your method there.
Brilliant. Love it.
That's fantastic. Ash, how did you come up with Axel?
So I think when we were getting introduced, you'd said something about us being maybe like nautically themed because we knew we were potentially on the lake, and so it would be thematically appropriate for showcasing our abilities. And I was super nervous because it's like my first time on stream, so I wanted a real easy mechanical build to play with. And so I knew I was going to be playing something like a fighter rather than a caster, and I was toying with the idea in some of the games I've been running at home about can you actually protect and save people in D&D without it being about damage output? So can a marshal be a protector? And so that's been a big kind of conversation. So I just wanted to see if I could do that. And the answer is yes. Sometimes it's just because you're hitting a lot. And I had a few features built in that were about moving people around the battlefield to hopefully, give them AC buffs and stuff like that through Battlemaster. And so it was, can a fighter actually save someone's life or be a defender through that play as the main, I guess, action at all times. So whenever there was an opportunity to stop someone from taking a huge hit or the killing blow, if Axel could have done it, he would have been the person to sponge those damages whenever he could. So that was the motivation behind it. And then I thought, what happens when like a character has learned that is not something that can be done, or has saved a life that has then been a negative consequence, like saving the mage that then turned and didn't take care of the soldiers. And so that was kind of the grievance that he was kind of like rattling with. So it played into the mechanics of how I played him, as well as kind of my motivations for the character.
Nice.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Az, where did Theo come from?
First thing I just want to say, you did a great job with that, Ash. I mean, you at the very least saved one entire session of fun for me with one of those moves. But and honestly, for most of my D&D characters, I'll start at what I think will be mechanically fun to play, and then I find the character's personality through the story. I've tried numerous times to, think of a backstory, think of flaws, think of how they're going to, and it never quite ends up fitting, and I end up finding where the character ends up just by being part of the story and working out where that goes. So that's mostly where Theo came. I literally hadn't even picked a voice up until that first session, and I just
and it shows.
And then just stuff with an accent that I could barely maintain for more than a sentence.
That barely's doing a lot of heavy lifting, mate.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's pretty simple, kind of just serendipitous discovery of character throughout.
It is tough as well in this context because you don't have a chance to play your characters before I force you to come up with how they look. Because I have to have the artwork done before we start. Well, I don't have to, but I like to have the artwork done before we start. I make myself that rule that I have to have the artwork ready. And so you have to, I guess I am a bit having you create their physical and visual design before you even have a chance to kind of envisage how they feel. And so I guess as a part of that, were there times where the visual art guided how you played your characters, or the opposite? Did it sometimes feel like you'd committed to a certain visual design and then it was very hard to work with what you had thought? We'll come back to that question. We'll go Josh and Jacob first about how you came up with the characters, and then I do. Yeah.
If I can have one last point, I will say the thing that probably helped me the most with finding that character was how we did the session zeros. Particularly giving me that tie to Tithla really gave me something to latch onto for where the character fits in.
Yeah, good. Okay, because I've that was my sort of first foray into how I now run session zeros for D&D, and I've got a whole new system for it that kind of was based upon what we did in Curse of Strahd and what worked really well in Curse of Strahd. So I'm really pleased you guys enjoyed that with Curse of Strahd, because that was the sort of
highly
foundation.
regret.
Yeah,
it didn't.
It turns out that what happens in session zero doesn't stay in session zero and haunts you for the rest of the 100 episodes. It turns out that is
only
outside the campaign.
If you try and buy children, there's a lot that you can do that gets left
I've got
behind.
some good news. One of the achievements I had was mention Jonor buying children in every single episode. As this is the final episode of Curse of Strahd, you have achieved that achievement. Congratulations. That was one of the achievements. I'm not even kidding. And then I couldn't talk about it until we'd done the 2K subscriber special. Congratulations, guys. Well done. Josh, where did Killian come from? Well, this is a question because you came in with an idea of him only being around for a couple of weeks, so that probably changes things a lot too.
Yeah, so when we were talking about, because this started, the idea of me coming over to play with the Lost Archives started with you coming, doing a podcast type interview thing on my channel.
Oh, yeah,
so
that was really fun.
It was like, hey, I'm looking for a guest. Do you want to come over? I was like, yeah, sure. I didn't feel when I was making the character
stuck around.
Couldn't get rid of me. No,
he stepped around with glue in his shoes, and now we can't get him out the door.
Look, I'm British. What do you expect?
I'm enjoying that joke a lot. That's multi-layered. That's good.
Yeah. One of the things that I thought of, because you had obviously all this stuff with Nostea and everything. I was like, I don't know Nostea that well, because I at that point I hadn't watched many of your streams. So I'm, when it comes to playing a character that's in a world or is from that world, I prefer being in that world when playing that character, so I can learn about the world. So I thought, well, the character that I'm going to bring in, I'll bring in from the RollTogether universe. So they've come from there. There's not a character I've played before, but it's somebody who is from that version of Faerun where we play some of our games. And then when I was coming up with it, when it was, everything was on the fly. So his a lot of his sort of backstory and stuff was sort of decided upon in the moment, other than the fact that he was a warlock and had died previously and then made a pact with a blade. That was the main thing. But like the accent change that I did sort of when we got to the Abbey, when I broke my pact with the blade, was sort of a symbolization that he was possessed by the sword. And then the very fun thing that I thought of when we did sort of like the flashback bit where we showed that Killian was originally a cleric. That was sort of like if I'd been in this series from episode 1, I would have been a cleric because the party needed a cleric.
Yeah, desperately.
Yeah.
Yes, we did.
Yep.
But I was a warlock instead.
The best bit is, I think when Matt and Ash joined, I was like, "Oh, would you be interested in playing cleric?" No. No. I just left it at that. I was like, fair enough. I thought I'd ask. worth the question. Jacob.
Yeah,
what were you smoking when you came up with Tithla?
Tithla? So I've gone back to my notes and I realized Tithla was such an evolution of a character, especially over the first few sessions. Obviously, that session 0, the bond with Theo, that happened there and that became so core to Tithla's character. But I've just noticed that I had written down that she was about 19. That clearly changed.
Slipped. She's Benjamin Button syndrome. She was aging in reverse throughout the campaign.
And very sheltered. So the way that then changed who she was is very sheltered. Okay, well, she hasn't been exposed to that wider world. They're very trusting. Obviously, trust was a big thing in her world. And then that sheltered, why would people wouldn't lie to me, that was sort of, it clearly became core to her character. So that was really where it came from. The idea of the class and character. Ranger, never played a ranger. That sounds sick. Why not? Who doesn't love a bow? That's fun.
Drake Warden, the best ranger. One
well, that then came out of it. All of those choices came out of where Tithla was in the story at that time. So I can't remember what it was, but it was the fire stuff, I think. That was like, cool, well, that leads into the dragon and the red. And that's why Dracob, it could have been the range of colors the whole time, was always red because of that fire thing.
I love that pun stuck around too.
How was your name?
So happy.
So in my book, every session, I started writing Tithla and then the date, and then it turned into Tithla and Dracob and the date. So every session at the start of my notes is Tithla and Dracob and the date, except for a couple where Dracob had been knocked out and wasn't there. And I was like, it was sad to not write Dracob at the start there, but I didn't, because Dracob wasn't there.
In 2,000 years, when the future evolution of human finds the fossilized remains of your diary, they're going to think it's some mighty hero who traveled the lands.
And they're correct.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Jacob, I got to know where the voice came from. What was the inspo?
What's annoying? But what can I do? What's raspy? What's weird? What is going to be kind of off-putting? but hopefully not too annoying. I was so self-conscious, and I think I might have even said to Owen a couple of times early on of like, if this is too much, please let me know. Like, I will change it.
I think my exact words were, no, I want more.
So what do you actually sound like?
Yeah.
Me?
Yeah.
You fucking dick.
What actual voice? All I'm hearing is annoying.
You cunt.
I'm not editing that. It's not a swear word in Australia. It's a normal word in Australia.
But one more thing, Tithla's name. I was trying to come up with a name, and it's like, well, where do you get from? So I was just thinking of like my female friends and what are their names and how can you apply on that? And I have a friend whose name is Tilda, short for Matilda. And I was like, oh, that's kind of in that world. And then, change a couple letters.
And we love the Matildas here in Australia. We love the Matildas.
Exactly. So that was where Tithla, the name, came from.
There you go. Did the artwork influence your characters at all? I'm just looking at how young Tithla's artwork looks. Is that why Tithla youthened over the course of the campaign? Because every time we looked at Tithla's art, she looks much younger than 19. I'm now like, it's literally come up, perfect timing. Like, is that my fault a little bit? Did I draw Tithla a bit young?
I think it was the relationship with Theo is where it was. But I remember when we were doing that artwork, you had a couple of different colors in there, and I said no, it had to be brighter. Like the yellow on her main thing there wasn't yellow. I think you had a brown or whatever, and I was like, no, it's got to be bright.
We had like linens. That's right. It was all like these like very soft linen colors underneath the cloak, and I had that sort of like a lot of the underclothes with this like grayish linen and very like earthy linens. That's so interesting. And
the cloak was like, no, it's got to be bright. She's she's a ranger, but she's youthful, and it was that. So the idea of that youthful and sheltered was still there. It was just idea of putting a number on wasn't right.
Yeah, so fair. This one, not everyone has to answer this one. If any of you did have if the artwork influenced your character at all, let me know, because I'd be very curious to know if it does. I wondered if it did, because I think it does for me a bit sometimes.
A bit, yeah. I think
I drew you way too strong. I kept thinking you were strength based.
Well, I mean, to be fair, the original build was that I needed at least a 13 to multi-class into Barbarian. So originally Theo was bulkier than he ended up being. But what I had in my mind was a more emaciated Druid. But when I saw him, I can roll a big, beefy, sexy go-boy. I can do that. So I think he took on a bit more of that, party boy, quirky, fae nature because of the art there.
Yeah, interesting.
I actually think the opposite for my characters during that campaign. I think what I had in my head, you captured so perfectly and recreated that it was exactly what I'd expected. It was exactly what I saw them being.
I don't think anyone's looked at the picture of Styx and said that before. So thank you.
No. Well, I mean, that Styx's creation, like I remember us having the early design chats about that, and you just kind of being a little stunned and disturbed by the whole concept, particularly the teeth.
He was very specific from the very first character description about wanting yellow teeth visible at all times. Just want
yellow,
that across for everyone.
Humanoid teeth on the robot.
There's a couple of different versions of Styx that I still have somewhere saved. I'll try and hunt them down, where I tried to make them less obvious, and the two versions I attempted to, I was told under no uncertain terms, fuck off, Owen. I want the teeth.
Well, I had to make him a bit more relatable, you know?
That makes sense. That checks out. You know what? I'm sorry. I tried to hold you back from being relatable.
But no, in all genuine sincerity, I think what I had in my head, you so perfectly recreated that I don't think it
could have been
caused
any difference. Just
disconnect or led to the character being a particular way. I think it did nothing but build further upon the scaffold that I'd already created. It was
between
perfect.
Styx and Shivers, you've given me two of the most challenging and two of the most rewarding character arts I've ever drawn. Shivers because of the drawing a Sphinx cat. I don't know if you've ever tried to do that, but it's really hard. I really struggled for a long time with fucking shivers because like
Scrotum
the
with
wrinkled
legs.
skin, it's really hard to get right. But it was good. By the end of it, I was like, I'm happy with this. This is sick. And Styx was just a nightmare from the first moment I was described what I was going to do. I was like, oh no, this is going to be really tricky. How am I going to draw?
Well, to be fair, like you made the Gloomforged based off what I'd come up with, and you did such a fucking amazing job on that.
Because as soon as you said you wanted to play like a Warforged, I was like, oh, we still need to do something with the Sun Sword. What if you made a Warforged from a sentient magic item? I was like, kind of makes sense. How, like, where are you getting the soul from? I don't know, that'd work. And so that was all. That was literally all like one conversation. Jacob, he doesn't like that. He's gone. That was all one conversation with Raph, where that entire thing came into being within about probably 30 seconds worth of back and forth. Where I was like, okay, how would you like to be the Sun Sword? I was like, what do you mean? I was like, how would you like to be the Sun Sword? You guys you need the Sun Sword to slay Strahd and Sergei. Do you want to be the Sun Sword? Do you want your character to be the Sun Sword? that sounds like fun.
And I was like, hell yeah. And then it was like maybe 10 to 12 episodes later that I researched and worked out what that actually was. It was great.
Classic. It was right next to the long rest button.
Well, yeah. I love the fact that with that as well was that we'd had, or at least I'd had my first encounter with Madame Ava, and the warrior card had been drawn and it hinted towards us finding the Sun Sword. And then obviously we didn't know the stuff that was going to happen with Grinner. So the fact that you managed to tie that all in with us finding Styx was, I think, was perfectly done.
It was a really good timing for a lot of things to be able to do that. It looked like it was all very like deliberate. It wasn't. We had no idea Grinner was going to die. I have had someone ask me, was that same sort of evidence? Killian Josh asking about the like how sometimes the Tarokka cards linked up so well. I was like, no. We drew them live. I can show you the little thing we used on Roll20. In fact, one of the things we're going to do before we wrap up tonight is draw a Tarokka card for each of you as your fate for how your characters are going in the future. But that was just really good timing for things to happen and be able to link in. But that wasn't, I mean, there was no way I knew what we were going to draw with the cards.
Those cards are spooky thematic sometimes.
They were very spooky thematic sometimes. Yeah, genuinely. Yeah.
Then I was like,
that's probably how
tarot
works, right?
I should add to that on that note that Grinner's character death, that was not a planned event. That was, and I know that was like a, what the fuck was that about? But the way I got so invested in that character that I was like, this is just what he would be doing at this moment, and any further concept of life-saving or general character growth, the development, or the campaign, it was just, no, Grinner would be doing that right now. And the rest was history, I guess.
The rest was history, as was Grinner a few moments after making those decisions. Sorry, you set it up so well for me.
Yeah.
Now, let's get some rapid fire questions because I don't want to go too late tonight. We'll do some rapid fire questions and then we'll draw Tarokka cards to see the fate of your characters. This is not the end of these characters' stories. There will be more that we can see with them. Question from Crimson Goose. What was the most difficult personal character decision for each party member? It's a tricky one. It's a tricky question.
I think deciding to not ever let go of the crystal ball, that was like sort of a tipping point of which way he was going to go, and I think that helped me lean in. So it was difficult in a way of that, like, all right, he's got to really commit into this pathway. So
at least you didn't say taking that long rest.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm joking. I'm joking.
There, and I just smiled and nod.
I was joking. I was joking. I said, because I was like, I'm pleased to hear it wasn't taking that long rest at the winery. I'm pleased that wasn't the most difficult decision.
That was a very easy decision for him to make.
Now he appreciates the value of sleep even more. I reckon, given your time again, you'd take a long rest, right, Tom?
I still would have taken a long rest.
Yeah, exactly. He stands by. No regrets.
The deaths of some people are on his hands for that.
Don't worry about it. You don't know that. There's no way Jonor could have known about that. Any other moments that were really tricky for your characters? You don't have to have like really difficult moments. It might have just been you always kind of knew what you wanted to do in each moment. There weren't things that really stumped your character, and that's absolutely fine. It means you had a really clear idea of who your character was, and I just need to do a better job in Cosmere and in D&D of challenging you and making you face your demons. It's fine. I
had one.
Yeah.
And it was when the mace came out, and it was like, who's going to wield the mace? And Axel's like, he ain't worthy of this. He's not holding a magic weapon or like. But it was during the like talk of the oath or the binding with it that I was like, oh, okay, I can see how he gets convinced to take up a mantle like that. But I was like, please don't make me responsible for this, like Axel and Ash. And then I was like, no, this is good. There's like there is no better wielder for it in the party. The encouragement of the party that made him kind of listen.
Nice.
I think the Theo, probably the hardest one was that session when I chose to fly solo back to Vallaki to get Arena, knowing full well that could end up with me going Grinner-wise. On one hand, like, it was like an easy moral decision to make, but a hard one to make for a character and a player knowing the impact to self-preservation. Well,
but for the character knowing you could die doing this, like it's very easy to say this is the right thing to do, but to say this is the right thing to do and I might not survive this and I might fail and die, and it ends up like that is a tough question to sort of answer. Is this the right thing to do then? That is really tough. Yeah. More of those for Has. That's what Challenges has. Stabbing Jonor in the back. Yeah. Didn't seem to really mull over it in the moment.
No, that was Killian did that 100% for selfish reasons because he was missing a hand, and the powers that be that were controlling him, which we didn't find out who that was or what that was, told him that they would give him part of his body back. So he did it in the moment and then regretted it for the rest of the campaign.
Yep, that's so fair.
We all do that.
I think Styx's vengeance arc after the flashback where he and Irina jumped off the bridge, or Tatiana jumped off the bridge, and that leading to him kind of going a little bit crazy down the vengeance path for a while there and becoming quite consuming. That was hard for me to play because I don't like operating like that for characters. I felt like that was very that was tough. That was a hard one.
You sort of got drawn along with the Revenants because that's what drove them, was that sense of revenge, and it was interesting that Styx
it was very fitting that happened.
Yeah, Styx kind of became their sword.
They were fun. Those Revenants were great fun.
That was another big departure from the module as written. The Revenants. Oh, not a big departure, not like Sergei, but like the Revenants in the thing are like, there's Revenants and they attack you as you enter. But if you do this, then they disappear. And I was like, come on, guys, that's not fun. Let's do more with them. Let's have more. Why are they there? Who are they? What do they want? I always want to do the character stuff. Feel free to jump in if there's any other people who struggle with a big decision.
I think one thing that it wasn't quite a decision, but it was sort of a result of consequences. Was dealing with the aftermath of Tithla throwing the tomatoes at Grinner in the stock.
Oh, yeah.
And then Grinner rolling a 1 on a D100 for how much did that really hurt?
Yeah, I almost brought that up before, actually. That I agree. That was cooked.
That was such a hard time. Like, Jacob, felt genuinely bad about what happened. To be oh no, like we fucked this up, we've ruined this. How is this going to recover?
I remember getting a message from Owen about that, about like 2 or 3 games after, where Grinner was still really pissy at Tithla about it. And I was like, you got to patch this up, man. You gotta fix this.
I sent the exact same message to Jake. I was like, all right, this has been entertaining, but if we do this for more than 3 sessions, this is not funny anymore. This is now just the audience being like, oh, these people hate each other. It's not. There's a point where it stops being funny, and I was like, I reckon this is a good line in the sand to draw now. If we do it now, that'll be perfect. We'll still be able to look back at this and think it's very entertaining. But if we do too much more, I'm like, ugh.
So building off that though, Tithla was in a bad spot, and I don't know if everyone remembers. She like wandered into the forest and got into a fight, and then everyone came and saved her. She was leaving. She was not going to come back. She was like, I've fucked this up. I don't know if you remember. She wrote a note and left it there, and then snuck away to grab the note later after you all found her. But I had accepted that she was leaving and I was going to make a new character.
Wow.
And like I wrote the note and everything so that it was there in the moment, so that if you ever found it or read it, it was there.
You got it there?
I've got it here.
Go on.
Go on.
So just to be clear, I wrote this on the 1st of May 2023. That's how long ago that was.
Holy shit.
2023?
Mm-hmm.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it was early.
It's got to be in Tithla's voice too.
Yeah, it does.
I'm recovering from the flu, so I'll give it a go. Okay, here we go. Grinner. So I'm feeling and I'm dealing with the heart I broke while you do press ups and repress us.
Oh my god, it's fucking Taylor Swift lyrics.
Here's something, if nothing else is true.
Of course,
we're the
it's
best
a joke.
friends. That almost happened with you. MP. Maisie Peters.
No, it's Maisie Peters lyrics, not Taylor Swift.
So,
for a second, we genuinely thought you'd written a heartfelt note.
I'd changed the lyrics to be a heartfelt note.
It's not quite the same.
But yeah, it was both.
You have written it. I will give you the credit. You have written
funny.
it. I was expecting like this moment of like heartfelt.
Hardcore, like, I will kill you, Jacob, if you keep
just to interrupt, we've had a summon creature happen in chat now, and
Strahd on Tithla now.
Strahd on Tithla now.
I am going to refund you those points, Palikia. It's fucking hilarious, but keep those points. Keep those points. You could use them elsewhere. Let me refund you those points. Now I got to figure out how I do that.
So,
let me do that.
Tithla was
summoning Strahd into the Cosmic Heaven.
Oh no, I think I'm ready for that. Here we go. Oh no, manage requests.
So yeah,
Right.
Tithla was going to leave and probably die wandering away as a result of that. Yeah.
What was the thing that changed Tithla's mind on that?
The group came and saved her, and she wasn't able to then sneak away anymore because she'd snuck away, and then the group heard the commotion and came and found her, and then there was just no opportunity, and then it all sort of settled down. But that was all.
There you go.
Yeah.
Kidnapped her into submission.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how the campaign started. It's only fitting that that's how it came. Now I've got 2 quick questions I'll answer really quickly. What was Rictavio doing behind the scenes of Barovia? Yeah, you guys didn't get to do too much with Rictavio. The problem with Rictavio, or with Van Helsing, essentially, because that's who he really is.
Van Richten, yeah.
Yeah, but, come on, we know it's Van Helsing. Come on. Is that he is a really interesting and exceptionally odd character in the way he's kind of written. His motivations are a little bit odd for what he's doing in Barovia and why he's there. I sort of had a bit of a play around with what we wanted to do with him, but because there wasn't a real... there were other characters you guys had a bigger connection with and a stronger connection with. I had some stuff for Rictavio Van Richten. Depending on how you guys reacted to him, you reacted how I expected. You were kind of like, oh, this guy seems all right, but there's more important people that we're dealing with right now. There's a lot of people that we've got on our periphery. We're sticking with the ones we know and we like. And so you didn't do too much with Rictavio. So I sort of let him drift in the background. He was there helping the crew that went and attacked Castle Ravenloft. He was there with Irina and Ismark and was there when they helped kill Strahd. Because there were so many people that we talked about, I didn't mention him too much, but he was the one who kind of helped guide them through the last remaining vampire spawn. His goal was to kill Strahd as soon as he saw what you were up to, especially the attack on the Amber Temple. He helped rally the others, and it was actually his idea. And he offered to help guide the other characters to go and take out Strahd when he appears in his coffin back at Castle Ravenloft, and to take out, or to destroy the coffin, really. So that's why he was kind of up to in the background. But I didn't want to have him do too much front and center, because you guys didn't seem that. You didn't seem super interested in him. You were more interested in his wolf than you were in him. So I took that as a sign.
Fun fact.
Yeah.
Fun fact, Van Richten was one of the characters I was going to ask if I could play when I was coming up with Killian. But I'd blitzed through the first 20-odd episodes beforehand and seen that you'd met him. I was like, no, I won't ask that.
You could have. I would have been fine with that. That would have been more interesting. Now.
Oh, wow.
I'm kidding. Oh no, then what I did with Van Richten, Killian. Not with what you did with Killian, then what I did with Van Richten. I'm saying what you would have done with the character. I'm saying what you would have done with the character is more interesting than what I did with the character. I thought Killian was fucking awesome, but I didn't do much with Richten. I was like, Ritavi, I was like, wow.
Also, what you would have done with the character would have been more interesting than what you did with Killian.
No, not true. Now, this is what we're gonna do, because I know I don't want to go too late tonight. The plan was sort of go for like an hour and a half. We've already done that. So really quickly, to get some kind of idea of where the characters are up to now, I've pulled open on Roll20 the Tarokka deck. What I'm going to get you to do, if you look in the bottom right hand corner of Roll20, you'll be able to see the Tarokka deck appear. I'm hoping all of you can see it. Yep, it's there.
Yep.
Can I ask each of you to draw a card one by one? We're going to start with Theo. Could you draw a card?
Just before
yeah?
Is there any way for the audience to see what cards we draw?
Yes, I'll bring us across the map. I was already going to do that. Ta-da! Here we go. I'll get it nicely lined up. There we go.
I've just fucked my Roll20.
Drawing.
And it should appear perfect. I can then drag that onto the thing, and we should be able to see. Okay, the rogue. Okay, so the rogue symbolizes a breaking from the rules that have guided you, from the path that you have followed before. It symbolizes taking a journey beyond what you had envisioned, a darker journey perhaps. How would this relate to Theo? When Theo gets back to Nostea, what is that like a break from your druid circle maybe? Is it a... Yeah, how do we describe that?
What I would probably be doing, well, Sten agreed to come back with me, so I'll probably be hanging out with. I think pretty soon after that, we'd realize that hanging around the little cottage I had in the woods wasn't the play anymore. I suspect Tithla's probably not hanging around too close nearby anyway. So I think what we would have done, given that, is probably a journey back into the Fey realm.
Yeah, okay. That is pretty...
My time as a frog.
It's going pretty rogue.
Overlords.
Headed into the Feywilds. Sen would have been very disappointed upon arriving in Nostea and realizing that cockroaches are not the mighty creatures that you envisioned them to be. That they are just like shitty little insects, even still. Okay, in that case then, that's perfect. I will write down that you and Sen take a trip to the Feywilds. That's really good for me to know, because a lot of what's happening at the moment in Return of the Giants is linked to the Fey. So that is very, very interesting for me to know. Fantastic. I'm going to move your card over to the left. Let's go Josh next. Could you draw a card for me?
I can indeed. All right, how do I do it? Click.
If you just
drag,
click on
deal.
it. Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, the Illusionist. Okay. The Illusionist it can represent two things. Either the hiding of oneself behind a false face, a false identity, or the dropping of that false identity and becoming who you were meant to be, revealing your true face. It is a card that determines or defines, I should say, the journey that one takes inwards more than outwards, to remove the illusions that one is taken from, that one keeps hidden, and to see truth, or to hide truth behind an illusion, behind lies. Killian.
That's literally Killian's entire arc.
Yeah, these are creepy. These are real creepy.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I think because Killian decides to stay in Barovia with Styx and travels to and from Nostea for however long they're able to. So I think a lot of the sort of facade that he had to start off with was the possession from the sword, and then as he travelled with the others, he began to break down and become more himself. And I think once the adventure is over, he is more who he was before, especially with like he's embraced the more comedic / bardic side of himself. Doesn't make any sloppy second jokes anymore, especially not in front of Styx, because but maybe even teaches Styx some jokes and to play an instrument.
Styx is almost as restored as he could be. So
Styx does that whole thing with I don't know if you've seen like some celebrities. I think Keira Knightley can do it, where they like flick their teeth as an instrument.
Nope. What?
Should I look it up? She does it in one of her interview things where she's like opens her mouth and she like flick her teeth and it makes a sound.
I'm going to be googling this later on. I need to know what that's about. Okay, no, fair enough.
If anyone can, it would be Keira Knightley though. Yeah, let's be honest.
Yeah. Okay. Tom, could you draw a card for Jonor? What is Jonor's eventual fate? If you draw the fucking diviner, I swear to God. Guild member. Okay. Now, the guild member represents the joining of a team, the joining of an organization, the joining of like-minded individuals, committing yourself to a cause and working as part of a larger team. Jonor, this doesn't have to necessarily relate to joining the Tempest Guild. I know it says guild member there, but when you come back, if you wanted to work as a teacher at the Unseen University, if you wanted to, it's up to you. What does the guild member card mean for Jonor? What is Jonor's fate upon returning to Nostea?
So I think it is natural for him to want to join the guild. That's like way too on the nose. I think there could be a tie-in with the divination. So if he's trying to like create something, so he can see, he can see a future, either the one that he wants or what the guild wants, and he can use his skills to then create that. So that's like, is that like a meta guild member where you help, form the guild even further? You get like to direct it?
Yeah, the administration role. Absolutely.
Administration is more, it'd be more visionary, like trying to see what pathways could occur and then help form the guild in whatever ways he can envision.
I love that.
Yeah,
that does feel very fitting for Jonor. That does actually, yeah. Ash, could you draw a card for Axel, please? And we will draw one for Matt at the end for blood. All right, what have we got? Oh boy, the Berserker. Okay, the Berserker represents a loss of control of one's destiny, of one's path. It represents an abandoning to one's baser instincts, to one's emotional state, to abandoning reason and giving into their rage and into their anger, or giving into what drives them. If we take it away from like the more traditional interpretation, giving into what drives you and focusing on that, being consumed wholly and fully by this drive, normally emotional in origin for the Berserker.
That threw me for a loop entirely.
That's a tough one.
I think
if you want to have a bit of a sit and think, you're more than welcome to. We can come back.
I think that
that's a rough one.
In terms of representing that, I feel like there's some sort of like that's an antithesis to like Axel's journey in a way that means.
Should we say you drew it in reverse? Do you want to say it was drawn in reverse? If it's reversed, then it's the complete opposite. So you can draw cards in there's different orientations.
I'm happy for it. I think what it means is that something from Barovia attached to him in some way as he left and has been, corrupting his will. Like that sounds like Axel has
been changed in a bad way from his time there.
Yeah, despite the fact he's like walked out of there seemingly unharmed, there's something lingering from the space.
Yeah. Okay. Oh boy.
Sergey lives.
Jacob, I'd love you to draw a card for Tithla,
what's up?
please.
Okay.
The Myrmidon. Okay. The Myrmidon
So glad
is
you said that. I would have had no idea how to say that.
The Myrmidon. The Myrmidon is a mighty warrior, one who stands at the front of their forces, a champion amongst their peers. In this context, the Myrmidon represents a champion, someone who stands up, who has grown beyond the struggles that they have faced and now inspires others to do the same. I mean, Tithla always saw herself as a medical genius. Is this just an expansion upon that? Are you now just a genius? it's now just...
No, I think that Tithla, obviously already medical genius, there's no further to go in that pathway.
So you've already grown.
Continue to spread that knowledge as much as she can. But I think she takes and heads off to the big smoke, the big city, and helps look after other orphans. And that's where she champions and takes a role there. Obviously, still very juvenile and immature, but she's seen some shit in this. So there's a seriousness there that she can relate and take on that champion, and is then advocating throughout the city using her somewhat prestige and clout of being a member of the Tempest Guild in what ways she can. I think that's where she takes that, and she does a lot of work through, like, with the orphans, taking them out into the forest and teaching them those skills.
I'm pleased you finished with teaching them skills, because taking orphans out into the forest is not necessarily the best start to a sentence. Raph, could you draw a card for Styx, please?
I can.
I like that we started with the Tarokka deck and we're finishing with the Tarokka deck. It feels... They say poetry rhymes and good stories should as well. I do like that. If you just click on the deck, it should... Oh, here you go. I can see it. I'll draw it for you. I'm stealing your card. Yep, it's all good. I'm just stealing it because you've drawn it and taken it to your hand. And I'm going to put it on the thing now for you.
You nailed it.
I love how
glad that we finished with a Raph fuck up on the tech side.
It is the Raven card. I will as soon as I'm able to show it. I think Raph might need to approve me stealing it, which is hilarious.
I'm trying to. There was a Jonor in the way.
There was a Jonor in the way. There we go.
Yeah,
it is next to the long rest button.
Next to the login button.
The Raven card. The Raven represents wisdom and knowledge, but of a darker nature. Knowing one's fate, knowing one's path, and being changed by it. The Raven is the guide towards darker fates. Styx. How does this relate? Yeah.
This is brilliant. Solus was such a quite literal shining light. He was the embodiment of honor and trying to do the right thing. And the way that Solus died was so traumatic in that sense. And I think Styx's rebirth as Styx and his journey was also so dark and traumatic. And he was, by the time he became whole again, he certainly wasn't Solus, but he also wasn't really Styx at that point. He was the wisdom of both and the dark understanding of what trauma and damage will do to you. But he'd come out the other side of it. So I think it's still a learning journey for Styx. And I think working there, working through that and trying to understand, what his personality actually is out the other side of it, what being whole means, is probably one of his biggest things. So, trying to learn jokes with Killian and trying to actually find that level of levity in his life again, and understanding instruments and that sort of thing, on top of understanding the dark elements of what life actually is, and not losing sight of the pendulum of life, and the understanding that the brighter the light shines, the darker the shadow it will cast.
Yeah. And the Raven card is outlined by the full moon in the card. The artwork even kind of matches that a little bit. I love that. That is fantastic. All right, I'm going to draw for Matt. Oh, it's the fucking diviner. I should have known. I thought Jonor was going to draw that. I was like, this. If Jonor draws the diviner, I am going to start believing in tarot and tarocca cards. Okay, so the diviner is one who sees their path, who has seen the journey they must make, or has seen the future in their way, and makes their path towards it, or someone who sets their own future and makes it happen. I think for Blood, that would mean... I mean, Blood was kind of ostracized from his clan. There'd been a bit of separation from it. I think Blood, what he really wanted more than anything else, was that kind of redemption. It sounded like Blood was looking to be, to be redeemed. It was his clan who'd been separated from I think it was Drifthaven, even from the floating city of Drifthaven. He'd been cast out as a child along with his family. Maybe Blood's goal, once he returns to Barovia, is setting his sights on that and making it happen, rejoining the floating cities, or staying with the guild. I think Blood was pretty committed to the guild. It does sound like if Axel's going down this darker path, it's because Blood isn't there to help kind of get him back on it, so get him back on the right path. So maybe Blood has set himself a task and is now making it come true. Is doing everything he can to ensure that future he has seen in his mind is what comes true. Now, we did have a quick request we've got 3 spots left for the cards. 1 for Sen, 1 for Katarina, 1 for Zavonk. The 3 major NPCs who are summoned during the campaign. I'm more than happy to do that. I think that's very fair.
Luther and Grinner.
Oh, Luther and Grinner. Okay, we'll do Luther first. It's the Torturer.
Oh no.
The Torturer represents pain inflicted upon others by your own actions, which for Luther is kind of appropriate. Luther is a Dhampir. He is forever locked into the cycle of requiring blood to survive, or cerebrospinal fluid in his instance was his chosen fluid. I mean, that kind of represents Luther in a way. Unintentional though it may be, Luther is forever bound to inflict harm on others to survive himself. Unintentionally, but still... Well, no, not unintentionally. He knows what he's doing. He's making that decision, choosing to live and choosing to inflict harm on others. That is actually kind of appropriate. Raph, it is only fair you draw for Grinner. Could you draw another card for Grinner, please?
I can.
Can he do it?
As soon as I remember how.
If you just click on the deck, that'll show up. Hey, he's got it. Oh boy, this looks like a fun one.
Ooh,
the Necromancer. Okay. The Necromancer could mean a couple of different things. In this instance, I think the most likely one, the Necromancer is one who has faced death, who has embraced it and come through the other side, changed by the experience, but empowered by it as well. Someone who has taken death and used it as their own power. I mean, that is pretty appropriate for Grinner.
Owen, if you're going to fake these things, not so on the nose, okay?
Do you know what's really funny? I actually don't know how to fake these cards. I did try to do a stacked deck in the very first time I had them, and the API I'm using for it does not allow me to do that. So I even if I wanted to, I'm unable to with the current Roll20 API. Just another example of how Roll20 is the superior platform. Yeah, I'm unable to stack this deck, unfortunately. Raph, I mean...
Look, I mean, it's funny because that's kind of Grinner's whole shtick, right? Even before he died and came back, he has faced death and been the cause of death for his entire adult life, and so being dragged through death was just what he knew, whether inflicting it or being subjected to it. And I think it has only strengthened his will to live in a weird way. I think like for a long time there, he didn't want to live. That's why he had that mark around his neck in the first place. Yeah. And I think actually dying and coming back and being able to do good was possibly the best thing that could have happened to him. And I think so he going back with the others to the real world, as it were, for him. And trying to find purpose. There's no way he would have joined up for any other military service. Or fighting for the man, as it were. But I think it's fairly likely that he probably would have started some sort of self-defense class in one of the cities, teaching those who wouldn't otherwise know how to fight back, young or children or what have you, learning to fight and fend for themselves.
Do you know what's crazy? Grinner, during the campaign, becomes a literal necromancer, because necromancy just translates to speaking with the dead. Grinner is possessed or partly joined with the spirits of Rose and Thorn, two dead people that he constantly communicates with and has with him for the rest of his days now. He literally becomes a necromancer. That's very, very funny. All right, I'm going to draw for Sen first. The Enchanter. Okay. The Enchanter is one who beguiles, one who is able to work with others to form a community around themselves that they are the center of. An Enchanter is one who is able to, in this particular instance, form close bonds that center around them and center around what their desires are. I mean, Theo and Sen heading back to Nostea and then traveling to the Feywilds. I think Sen very much did want that. That sounds very much in line with Sen's particular motivations, and I that is a very appropriate card for Sen. I think in terms of like a personality or a future personality, maybe it represents Sen's sort of like growing connection to other people as well, because Sen was friendly enough, but I don't think Sen had any real like deep ties to places or people. Maybe this represents the sort of formation of those once she arrives in Nostea. All right, the next card. This is for Katarina, the Elementalist, one who channels the energies of the natural world. An Elementalist is a person who finds themselves at unity with the world around them, one who is in control of the natural parts of their life. Katarina stays behind in Barovia as a result of at the end of the campaign. She stays behind as a freed vampire spawn. One who is now free I guess, a proper vampire by the end of it. Maybe Katarina's path is then to try and like break free from that vampiric curse, to achieve that unity with the natural world, to achieve that unity within herself. Could be interesting. And then the last one is Savonk. We have the Thief. Are you kidding me?
Accurate.
I can't reveal too much of what happens to Savonk at the end of Curse of Strahd, because Savonk's story is not 100% finished yet. We will see more of Savonk, because Savonk basically steals Sergei's phylactery and vanishes with it. So there's a lot more there to discuss. We will be seeing more of Savonk possibly during Return of the Giants, possibly during Tales from the Yawning Portal. Depends what the players choose and what their journeys take them. That's pretty nuts, actually. There were two that I'm not sure if they match 100% as well as the others. Berserker and Myrmidon, I think, were a bit out of left field for Axel and Tithla, but the rest of them are pretty damn spot on. Good lord.
It would have made sense for them to be the other way around for them too, because of the amount of stuff that Tithla went through.
I agree. Yeah, quite possibly. Oh my goodness. Alrighty. I'm going to bring us back to the webcams. Now, that is all we have time for our 2K subscriber special. If you have any other questions, make sure to chuck them in the comments below. Shoot them through on the Discord. I will make sure that we answer each and every one of them. I hope you guys have enjoyed our Curse of Strahd campaign. I hope you've enjoyed this 2K subscriber special. We love each and every one of you. Thank you so much to all of you for all your support, for watching the episodes, listening to the episodes, for liking, subscribing, commenting, for being in the Discord. Those of you who are in the Discord, we've got such a lovely community of people that we are building here, and I love all of you. You are all amazing people, bloody legends, each and every one of you. As I said, this isn't the end of these characters' stories. The surprise I have is that I was going to do an epilogue episode. If we had some time tonight, we had so many questions though. I want to do an epilogue episode. I need to wait for the timelines to converge. Return of the Giants is not too far away from catching up to the events of Curse of Strahd. When they have done so, I'm going to be splitting the Curse of Strahd cast and Return of the Giants cast into some different groups for who is where, and some of your characters will be with some of their characters and vice versa. Because depending on how Return of the Giants finishes up, there will be a bit of a mix around of how things look. I will keep you posted as that progresses. But for tonight, that is all we have time for. Thank you so much, each and every one of you. I am going to go and raid a lovely friend of the channel. I was about to say RollTogether RPG, but you're not up.
No, we don't stream on.
Because I keep thinking it's a Monday.
Yeah.
We will go and raid
Cove's
Corsair's Cove. I love Corsair's Cove. We'll go raid Josh the Pirate. Corsair's Cove is great, and they're doing their Humblewood campaign. Of course we will. I will have that raid come across. That is coming across now. But thank you again so much, all of you. We will see you all again for more fun and delight in future campaigns. Until then, stay safe, everybody. Stay well, and we'll see you all again next time. This is not, I should say as well, Jacob, can we announce that we're going to be seeing you in...
100%.
Jacob is joining our Tuesday night sessions. There is going to be more Jacob with our Tales from the Yawning Portal crew. Jacob is the best person I can imagine joining in with the chaos of the Tales from the Yawning Portal crew. And I have a personal challenge to you, Jacob. I want you to out-chaos each and every one of them. If you do...
Easy.
If you do, there is a magic weapon I have designed specifically for you.
Done. Consider it done. You may as well give it to me when we start.
We'll see. Everybody, we will see you all next time. Until then, stay safe, stay well, and see you guys next time. Bye!
Bye!
Bye. See ya.